What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000 back for another action figure review. Today we're looking at some Arkham figures. We got the Arkham City Riddler and the Earth-2 Batman from Arkham Knight. So these two are the only Arkham figures from this recent wave I just looked at. Some interesting choices were made, but we'll get into that. Here's all the packaging, the side, the back, the artwork. Let's get to it, let's open these up and take a look. And here's Batman of Earth-2 out of the packaging. For the accessories, of course, we got the DC stand as well as the trading cards. I'll show both on the screen now. And then interesting to note, they're calling this Thomas Wayne. And that is accurate to Earth-2, and as you can see, we got the comic book artwork. When we get to the figure here, this is definitely from Arkham Knight. It says it right on the box. And in that case, this would kind of be Bruce Wayne. So they're pulling from the comic and the skin from the game that the comic is also based on. So we're kind of crossing streams here. That being said, you got a lot of good designs in Earth-2. You got a cool Superman, you got Calvin Ellis Superman, you got Hawkgirl, The Flash, you got Cheeked Up Red Tornado. There's definitely things to pull from, but for now, we got this guy from the Arkham Knight game, and if you're looking at it from that point of view, spot on, perfect figure. And I almost forgot, but this Batman also comes with the RC Batarang from Arkham Knight. I don't know if we've seen this exact one before, maybe with one of the Arkham City figures. But I will say the hands they gave Thomas Wayne here don't really hold them very well. This is about the best I can get. Now we'll start at the head sculpt here, and I thought it was a reuse of this Batman from Arkham City, who we'll compare to later, but it actually is different. Let me just make sure before I give too much praise. Yeah, definitely not the Arkham Knight head sculpt either. This looks like a unique head sculpt, and it looks very good. It's one of the best. And then we get down to this costume, and what can you hate about this costume? The black and red is awesome. It fits Thomas Wayne, but this isn't the Thomas Wayne we all know. This is Earth-2. It's a bit different. For the cape, I don't really like it, to be honest. It reminds me of the Arkham City and the Arkham Asylum cape. You put him on his feet, he wants to go back. I don't like that about these Arkham capes. Seems like a real thick curve and a lot of thick plastic at the bottom, but I guess you don't got to worry about him falling off your shelf. I will say the texture here looks pretty good, better than most, and it's smooth in the middle with the Bat logo. All this is very clean design. And I think right up Mcfarlane's alley as well, so I could see why they did it. Otherwise, there isn't that much to go over. It is very simple, but what is here is very good. For the head sculpt, he's going to look up, not a whole lot. He's looking up that far, forward that much. Torso is on a rotation, and there's another rotation down there, but it seems stiff. Shoulder socket is rotating. You got a bicep cut, hopefully won't snap in half. Double elbow, seems like you can go pretty decent. I'm not going to stress it. Because of the way the gauntlets are sculpted, the hands seem pretty difficult to move around, so for now I'm just going to swivel them. Pretty decent splits there, you can see how that works. Kick, not that much back. Forward, not that much either. There's a very stiff diaper that Batman's got on here. Double knee is pretty good, does everything you'd want it to. Got a nice sculpted joint there, pretty much seamless. Very good job there. And then a little bit of ankle and a toe joint. For comparison, here's our Earth-2 Batman with the default Arkham City and Arkham Knight versions. And he stacks up pretty well against them. The Arkham Knight is definitely the tallest. This figure, by the way, if you missed out on this one, this was very early Mcfarlane, and I still think it's top 5 of seriously one of the best that the DC Multiverse has put out, and it was so early in the line, like I said. Arkham City, not so much. I love the head sculpt compared to Arkham Asylum, but something's wrong over here in the legs. Otherwise, great looking figures, and it's cool to have kind of a Hall of Armor building with Arkham. We also have that gold variant, but I haven't been brave enough to open it. But yeah, I mean, people are going to say too many Batmans, but when these Batmans are some of the best that Mcfarlane's putting out, I'm not complaining. And then for some villains, here we got the Arkham City Joker, who's basically the same as the Arkham Knight Joker, and then also the Arkham Knight himself. And that's not a bad pairing either. I do like how this looks. And if you wanted to throw this guy in with your comic book figures, here he is with 3 Jokers Batman and Rebirth Superman. And up next, we got Mr. Edward Nygma the Riddler from Arkham City, and his only accessory is the Riddler staff. I mean, thank God we got this. He'd be pretty plain without it. Mine seems a bit crooked, but maybe that's intentional. I haven't played the game in a long time. But here we are, the Riddler, Edward Nygma himself, and really our first proper Riddler. We did get the one from The Batman, but that was very different. This leans a little close to home, and perhaps too much, because I think the colors here are like bright and ridiculous, which in theory should be working for the Riddler, but not really Arkham. And Mcfarlane, they know what they're doing, because the trading card even is this very kind of shadowed up painting, so you can't even really see the inaccuracies. But right off the bat, if we look at them, strip of the hat over here, the band around it, that should be colored in. And the glasses, Mcfarlane, they really don't like glasses. They just make them solid colors. This happened with Static Shock, happened with Wally West, and now here we are with the Riddler wearing some shades. looking like J.C. Denton or something, and not really like the Riddler as we know him in Arkham City. Also, it's a very unique expression. It does work for this version of the Riddler, but especially with the sunglasses too, something's just off. There is a faint texture to the hat. We don't really get much texture on the suit, which I'm surprised by, but we do get these raised Riddler logos. And that's another point of contention, or at least for me, I think these are supposed to be yellow, or at least a different color, a darker green, or maybe black. But they didn't go that extra mile. We did just get sculpt work, but not a lot of paint. And then we also have this armband over here. It's not on the other side. Again, I don't remember these details from Arkham. But yeah, no paint on that either, just sculpted in detail. We do get a nice painted question mark in the back. That's good, but we're not really going to be looking there most of the time. Even down the pants here, he's got 5 buttons. None of them are painted, and otherwise relatively plain. The boots, the gloves, the sleeves, the jacket's got some purple accents. I do appreciate this little tie clip being painted. That does actually go a long way. But yeah, something is definitely off, or he feels a bit cheap in comparison. I think the color choice should have been a bit more drab, maybe closer to the Batman movie version. And yeah, like most McFarlanes these days, definitely could have used some more paint. For the head sculpt, looking up pretty decent, down, and then also some pretty good attitude, some tilt action. Shoulders going up that much, and a swivel at the bicep. Double elbow, looks pretty decent. Then a ball joint at the wrist does everything you want it to. The torso's got the double ball system, but the jacket might limit it a bit, especially backwards. Kick back is alright, kick forward, very good. Kicks out, got double knee, pretty good. Pretty good double knee on there. And you got a hinge at the foot, a little bit of ankle, and some toe. For comparison, here's the Riddler with that Arkham City Joker, and I brought in Arkham City Catwoman. And by the time we get to Arkham Knight, you know, these two have a lot of history. And pretty good lineup here. Catwoman maybe too tall, and also got that big diaper. But otherwise, we're building a pretty solid list of the Arkham rogues. And here he is with even more rogues. We got the Penguin from Arkham City, and the Arkham Knight. For some mega fig action, I gotta lift up the camera here. And that Grundy's definitely too small, but I think Croc works out pretty well. Then here he is with our Arkham Knight and Arkham City versions of Batman. And I do especially like how Arkham Knight looks against this guy. Looks like he could kick his ass. And here's our 2 versions of the Riddler so far. We got a much different take with the Edward Nashton character from the Batman. If you want to put him with your comic book characters, here he is with the Action Comics. And then finally, with your comic book display, you could put him with 3 Jokers, Batman, Rebirth, Superman, and that actually works a little bit better because of the bright colors. And that is going to do it for the newest batch of Arkham figures from McFarlane Toys. And overall, pretty solid stuff. I think that Riddler honestly works better as a comic book version. If you prefer that kind of thing, maybe that's not so bad. For me, I wish he just had a bit more effort put into him. I do love the Thomas Wayne though, and I wasn't expecting to like it so much. But I think that's such a simple design, and they executed it perfectly. It didn't need all sorts of paint, but what is there needs to be, and it looks good. And the color palette, everything. So I'm going to have to give my favorite to Thomas Wayne here, but don't sleep on this Riddler either. And I think especially when you put him against all your other Arkham figures, we got a pretty fleshed out lineup here. I didn't even show Deathstroke or the Titan Joker, Scarecrow, Red Hood. There's still so many Arkham figures, and we got a really impressive lineup building, and it only seems to be getting bigger. As always, I'm going to leave this off with some action figure photography, and you could also check out my second channel. We're going to talk shop about Marvel and DC movies, and I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.